Welcome everyone to my favorite day of the week. That would be Wednesday. Probably not something that you hear all too often. Today we are back in the valley. We're in a section of the valley today called Panorama City. From what I have read about this particular neighborhood, Panorama City is a lower income area, which I think is going to be really good for us to cover because it's going to show a different angle to the valley, especially when compared to Northridge and Granada Hills that we covered last week, considering those are more middle to upper class sections of town. Additionally, Panorama City has a lot of history, as does the neighboring section of Pacoima, which we're going to try to dive into today as well. So it's going to be a little light on landmarks today, but the thing is there's so much more to a location than its landmarks, and I think that's something that gets a little bit missed. That being said, we're going to focus very much on the overall feel of the area and just things that I run into, because I have never spent time in this part of town, so I don't really know what we're going to find. So yeah, let's just dive right in, and this is basically going to be a first impressions kind of walk.
Our first stop is actually a church campus here at Grace Community Church. They've got a coffee shop, grill, a chapel, and a consistent wood decor, which I find very welcoming. Being a Wednesday, foot traffic is relatively quiet, but that's how I like it. This is absolutely a place you'd have to look for in order to find. It's surrounded by a big fence and a big parking lot. The church sits next to the Tujunga Wash, a tributary of the Los Angeles River. Next to that, a very interesting find, the largest Thai Buddhist temple in Los Angeles. Also, a fully fledged food court on the weekends. In fact, there appears to be a lot of Thai influence in this area. There are also a lot of churches around here. Gentrification, while still present, is not nearly as invasive here as in other areas. Case in point, a cluster of modern mid-rises here at the Van Nuys and Roscoe Junction. But then, not far north, we have Panorama Mall. Originally opened in 1955 as the Broadway Valley Shopping Center, it was one of the largest in the valley. It had over 100 stores back in the 1950s. In fact, this mall is where LA's first Walmart opened in 1998. Additionally, this was the first multi-level Walmart in the US. Right around the corner, this is the oldest surviving IHOP in the world and only the second one built. Across the street, what is this? Welcome to Plaza del Valle. Originally opened in 1963, this plaza captures the heart of Panorama City's culture and history. There are about 100 local shops in here, all of which aim to serve the local community. I feel like I just stepped back into Mexico City, but also there's a significant presence of Colombian, Salvadoran, and Thai shops as well. Panorama City is the San Fernando Valley's oldest planned community, developed in the late 1940s as a response to the need for post-war housing. However, much like other parts of LA, it was white flight after the 1968 Civil Rights Act that resulted in today's ethnically diverse population. Basically, by the 1968 amendment, property covenants could no longer discriminate based on race, at least not legally. What would a walk through Panorama City be without a panorama? Many of the homes in this community were built specifically in a minimal traditional style. This style focused on small single-family homes that remained affordable, which was especially important following World War II. But as you can see here, new apartment buildings are being constructed within the same ballpark as those old homes. Admittedly, I'm assuming those will be residential buildings. Here's a more obvious example: modern apartment buildings next to old, non-renovated homes. This historic Panorama Theater opened in 1949, but closed down in 2001. Since 2002, it has been leased to the Universal Church. Not all parts of Panorama City are well maintained. In fact, some parts are outright run down, unfortunately. Interestingly, there are no homeless encampments under the 5. This was once a thriving shopping center, but now it's nothing at all. On the northeast side of the 5, we're now in a neighborhood called Pacoima. There are tons of food trucks here, particularly on streets like this one that don't actually have much else. Pacoima remains the poorest area in the valley. It's estimated that 1 in 3 residents live in public housing. Like Panorama City, there is evidence of several lots which have closed down and rotted away. This is an interesting statistic, because Pacoima hides its poverty well. Not much visible homelessness, and some impressive yards too. Of course, wouldn't this be exactly where you'd expect to find a huge audio-video rental house? The summer smog is making its return, but some green still remains on the hills. My walk is going to end with perhaps a quirky lunch choice here at Big Jim's Family Restaurant. It was the right choice.
Alright guys, that is going to wrap up today's walk, and overall, we had a few interesting finds today, like Plaza del Valle. I think that alone made Panorama City worth walking through, because I knew that the plaza existed based on my research, but I really didn't know what to expect of it, so I was very pleasantly surprised to see that, and to see the uniqueness that it gives this area, because that's really what we look for in these walks, is what makes each of these neighborhoods unique. We didn't make it all the way to central Pacoima today, which is what I wanted to do, but that's mostly just because I had a lot of delays in getting here, all the way out here today, so we had a really late start, and now we're fighting daylight because I don't want to be getting back home after the sun goes down. So, but hey, you know, it's unlikely that the world will end tomorrow, so we can always hit Pacoima another day. With that, I am going to hop back on the bus now, one of several that I'll be taking here, and I'll see you guys next week. Next week is going to be the final walk of our Valley series before we pop back down into some other sections of LA. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys then.